What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're gonna talk some basketball. Orlando Magic basketball. We here. The NBA draft is right around the corner. It is tomorrow. We are finally here. You know, back in March we made that trade and we decided to tank and we decided to play for this 2021 NBA draft. It was like, man, it felt like draft was years away. It felt like it was so long, and especially then when the NBA draft lottery had, we fell to the fifth pick. I mean, the Magic, it just felt like, man, the NBA draft is so long away. We ain't had to coach it. It just feels like it's so long away. We here now. We are right here. And because the NBA draft is tomorrow, I want to do a video with my final predictions, especially we've heard a lot of things, a lot of trade rumors, a lot of who we're going to draft type of rumors. You know, we got the fifth pick, we have the eighth pick, we have the third pick in the second round. So we do have some good picks, and we're in a good position to probably get a couple players, if not trade up. So I want to do a video and what I think is going to happen, what's the most likely scenario, what's going to happen in the NBA draft for the Orlando Magic. Now, like I said, for the past couple days, past couple weeks rather, we hear that the Magic been trying to move up maybe to 1 to Detroit or maybe move up 2 to Houston, which both of them are probably highly unlikely. But more concrete is that the Magic over the weekend, that the Magic really put in. Late last week or the weekend, the Magic really put in a strong offer to the Cavaliers to get that third pick. And I said this a couple weeks ago, that if the Magic do trade, move up and trade for the third pick, we won't know nothing until draft night. Because they're going to wait and see what Detroit and Houston does. A lot of Houston fans want the Houston Rockets to take Jalen Green. And Jalen Green, my personal opinion, is the second best player in this draft. He's a franchise-changing player. But I might be in the minority. I could definitely see the Rockets taking Mobley. And I can even see the Rockets trading back with somebody because I can see them liking Jalen Suggs and that Jalen Suggs fitting what they want to do because they already have Kevin Porter Jr. at the shooting guard position and they actually need a true point guard. And you also hear a lot of stuff about the Rockets trying to move up to 1 to get Cade Cunningham. So it's just a lot of different things. So I think the Magic are going to wait and see what happens. We'll pick 1 and pick 2 before they decide to move up. Because I think they would hate to give up the 5th pick and give up the 8th pick and then give up Terrence Ross or give up Harris and take back Kevin Love in that bad contract, which are all things are in play to get the 3rd pick and only end up with Mobley. I think that they do that. They're going to do that to get a cake. I mean, they're going to do that to get a Jalen Green. Like, that's what they want. They want a Jalen Green. I don't think they're going to give all that up just for Mobley. So I think they're going to wait and see what happens with pick 1 and pick 2 before they decide to make a trade with the Cleveland. I can tell you probably more so like how that Luka and Trae Young trade went when the Hawks took Luka at 2 or 3, and then Dallas took Trae Young at 5, and they swapped because they already had a handshake agreement. Like, hey, you draft my player, I'm going to give you this and give you that. So I think that's more so likely for the Orlando Magic to happen, but they're going to wait and see what happens with pick 1 and pick 2. So let's talk about it because I think the Orlando Magic more than likely are going to stay at pick 5 and stay at pick 8. And with the 5th pick in the NBA draft, I think the Orlando Magic are going to take Jonathan Kuminga out of the G League Ignite. Just an athletic freak. Like I said before, he can score. He is a scorer even though he's not a good shooter. But he has all the physical tools. He is a grown man. He has a even though and the thing is he's only 18, 19 years old. He's like he's still a teenager. He's still a teen. He's not in the 20s. He won't even play. He's not in the 20s yet. He's still a teen. He should still. Yeah, I'm not saying he's 18 years old. He's still be in high school right now. If he was if he grew up in the United States, he would be going to. He would still be in high school. He'd been a senior in high school, and he already has an NBA body. He is built like an NBA player. He is a physical specimen. And he's built. He have athleticism. Can jump out the gym. You just gotta get him to play on defense because he has all the potential to be a defensive player of the year caliber player. But he needs somebody to help him be more assertive and be more aggressive and pay attention to more details. And I think that's part of the reason why they hired Jamal Mosley, somebody who I think, like I said, who I think they will go after. And somebody who can help mold them. Now, I know a lot of people have been talking about, we predicting this, that we're not going to let Sky Barnes pass us at 5th. And I really don't see it. I really don't see it, especially with this organization. The reason why, because this is the same brain trust that helped put together the Milwaukee Bucks team. And did you look who won the finals? Did you look who's the MVP of the NBA Finals? You see who's been the outside this year? Because I know Joker won MVP this year, but who was the previous two-time league MVP? What this man did in the finals. I'm not saying that Jonathan Kuminga is Giannis. I'm not saying that, but they have a lot of similar traits. They really do, and this is the same brain trust. This is the same brain trust that helped bring Giannis into Milwaukee. I think they won't let I think they won't let another opportunity like that pass them by. They obviously have a what's the word I'm looking for? They all not a system, but they obviously have a type. And you see it with the drafting of Jonathan Isaac. You see it with the drafting of Obama. Even though I think the reason why they drafted Obama because Trae Young with the pick before them. You kind of see it a little bit with Chuma. They probably went against the grain a little bit with Cole because Cole kind of might be an undersized point guard. But you see with them trading for Markelle Fultz, they like physical specimen. They like guys who physically don't look normal to what those positions because they're bigger, they're stronger, they're more athletic. That's what they like. That's what they've showed you. So I definitely think that if they're five, especially with the coaching hire that they have, that they will take Jonathan Kuminga. Now, trust and believe, I think they would much rather have Cade Cunningham or Jalen Green, but the draft lottery didn't go in our favor. I think that they will go after Jonathan Kuminga at 5. Now, the most interesting pick to me, the Orlando Magic have his 8th pick because the Orlando Magic can go Davion Mitchell, they can go Keon Johnson, they can go James Bouknight, which a lot of people want, and they can also go Moses Moody, who is a lot of Orlando Magic fans wants to go Moses Moody, and that's the mindset I'm in because I believe that I just did videos both on James Bouknight and Moses Moody. I think both of them have high ceilings. I really do. And to be honest, I think they're pretty much, I ain't saying they're the same player, but I think that their ceilings are pretty much the same. Bouknight might be slightly higher because I think Bouknight could be an elite, I think Bouknight could be a scoring champion. I think he has multiple scoring titles because he can score on all 3 levels. But his shooting worries me and his turnovers worry me. With Moses Moody is not as athletic as Bouknight, and he doesn't finish at the rim like him. But Moses Moody is, again, we talk about defense, could definitely be a top defender. He could, I ain't say he could be defensive player of the year, but I think he can make at the very least 3rd team all defensive team, and he's a great shooter. He has the potential to be very, very good. And I think his floor is high. I think his floor is higher than Bouknight because I think his floor, at the very least, is an elite 3-and-D guy. As a starter, as a role player off the bench, and that does dividends for you because that's the type of guy who, okay, you got pieces. You might want to go out there and go and get a Damian Lillard or go out and get a Luka or go out and get Donovan Mitchell, whatever. He's a trade asset because he's a great player. Or if these superstars are free agents, I'll go to Orlando because they got all the studs around them, and they even got 3-and-D guys coming off the bench that play at elite level. They got 6-man caliber guys. I will go over there and play with them. So that right there shows you that since his floor is so high, in my personal opinion, that's who I would take at 8. I'm taking Moses Moody. Now, don't get me wrong. We get James Bouknight, I'm crunk. I'm happy. If we end up with 5, Kuminga and James Bouknight, I'm good. I'll prefer Moses Moody, but it's really like splitting hairs because I think James Bouknight has he can score on all 3 levels and you getting scoring. But the flip side, Moses Moody at the very least is a shooter, which is something that this team does not have. We have Terrence Ross, who may or may not get traded. Other than that, where's the shooting? Like seriously, where's the shooting on this team? There's no shooting. Not any good shooting. We have maybe some decent shooters. I think that Cole is a decent shooter. I think RJ can be a decent shooter. But we don't have a pure shooter on this team. You draft Moses Moody, you have a pure shooter on this team. I think that's what you go for 8. I think if you end up with Jonathan Kuminga at 5 and Moses Moody at 8, and a lot of people are like Moses Moody at 8, that's kind of high. Man, don't get fooled with having in Arkansas because basically he was just playing the confines of his offense. That's all he was doing. He's just playing the confines of his offense. I guarantee you, 4 to 5, 6 years from now, after this draft, wherever Moses Moody land, people are gonna be like, I can't believe Moses Moody fell that far. I can't believe he fell to 8. I can't believe he fell to 10. I can't believe he fell to 15. Wherever he falls on the board, people are gonna be like, I can't believe that dude fell that far. Because that's how good I think he's going to be, especially from the shooting position. Not to mention because he has a 7-foot wingspan. Like I think he could guard the 1 through the 4, at the very least the 1 through the 3 position. I think he could be, like I say, a top 15 defender because if you're third team all defenses, you have at that right there is telling me that you're a top 15 defender. And I believe we have a defensive player of the year in and year out caliber guy in Jonathan Isaac. I think we got at the very least a second team all defensive player in Chuma Okeke. And I think that Markelle Fultz he can flirt with that third all defensive team. I think that Moses Moody will be a better defender. I think he'd be a more submitted guy at that spot. And then if you can get Jonathan Kuminga to play with intensity on defense and be paying attention on defense and give more effort on defense, he's the guy that has the potential to be a defensive player of the year type of guy. You're talking about 4 to 5 guys on your team that could be all defense 1, 2, and 3. You're talking about 4 to 5 guys on your team being the top 15 to 20 defenders in the whole NBA. That right there, in my opinion, is going to spell out wins. But at the same time, you need some level of scoring, and I think that is what James. I think that's what Moses Moody brings to you because he could shoot. Folks, shots doesn't got there yet. Now, with him being out with ACL, hopefully that helps him. Hopefully that helps him be able to work out and get that arm right and get that shoulder right and get that shot right. People are holding out hope for Jonathan Isaac because technically he hasn't gotten the chance and opportunity to show what he can do offensively. After watching him for the past couple years, I think he could be okay offensive guy, but I don't never think he's just. I mean, unless you just give him the bulk of the shots. Obviously, you give somebody 30 shots a game, they're going to average in the 20s because they're getting more shots than everybody massively, and you're basically force feeding them the shots. So yeah, something like that is different. But I don't really think. But is he getting it at an efficient level? Is he getting it to the? Is he getting it from? As far as helping the team, or is he getting it at the detrimental of the team because we're trying to force feed him just because he's the guy who we're calling on to be the superstar? I don't really think that Jonathan Isaac is that type of force as a full 20 to 25 guy. I think Moses Moody can be. I damn sure think Book Knight can be. I think Book Knight can lead the league in scoring, and I actually think that probably that Jonathan Kuminga could be a 20-point guy because he's a force. He could be a physical force. He could be a physical specimen. Oh, and shooting, I forgot Chuma. Chuma's a shooter. Chuma can shoot. So there you go. You got Terrence Ross and you got Chuma. You need some other shooting, and I think that's why you need Moses Moody at 5 because you do need. I forgot about Chuma. I think Chuma is a guy who. I think Chuma, all the guys that's on the team as of right now, we're not talking about nobody that's drafted. I think Chuma has the best chance to potentially be an offensive force. But I think he might take some of his defense away if you do that. And because I know a lot of people want to compare him to Kawhi Leonard and things like that, baby Kawhi and stuff like that. So I think to take that burden off of him, you need to get some scoring on this team. Again, the preferred situation is to go out there and get Cade, which is slim to none. Jalen Green is a more possible opportunity, but it depends on what Houston does. And it depends if what their trade package sounds like going to Cleveland. Is it too much? Do you really feel that Jalen Green is a superstar, potential superstar, and you wait to give up the whole house? Because I ain't gonna lie, I don't want to give up RJ, and I don't want to give up Cole, I don't want to give up Isaac, and I don't want to give up Fultz, and I don't want to give up Chuma. This is me personally. Unless you full-fledged telling me that Jalen Green is a guy, he is a superstar caliber player, which he possibly can be. I don't want to give up none of those guys because I think at the end of the day you need those type of guys, even if they them returning to superstars, but just to say if Fultz turns into a star, and Isaac turns into a high caliber defensive player year in year out, and is a star, especially on defense, and you get a superstar out of Kuminga or Moses Moody or Book Knight, you're in position to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. You're in position to be in the NBA Finals because it takes a team. Because you don't want to just have a superstar. Because then eventually, if you just have one star, he's going to be 1 foot in and 1 foot out the door. So you definitely want to have a team around him to make this guy want to stay so you win in games. Everybody's not Giannis and wants to stay at home. Everybody's not Giannis and wants to stay where he gets drafted and win a championship for them. A lot of these guys are ready to book. They're ready to go out and create a super team. So you want to do something like Golden State. You want to draft a super team. You want to do something like really the Oklahoma City Thunder was doing up until they got greedy and didn't want to pay James Harden and trade him to Houston. You want to draft these guys. What the Orlando Magic done in the past back in the 90s before Shaq left with the LA. You drafted 3D. You drafted you drafted and traded for Penny. You drafted Shaq. You drafted Nick Anderson. Like, you drafted these guys. Yeah, you had to go out and you had to go get Horace Grant and things like that. Yeah, you had to make some free agent moves. But at the same time, for your core of that championship team, of that team that made the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history, was drafted. It was done the quote-unquote the right way. That's the opportunity that you have right now. And the guys that we have are all being drafted or brought in outside Terrence Ross. Terrence Ross is the only player on this roster right now that was brought in from the old regime. This is all this new regimes that actually, like I said, that has a blueprint because they come from over from Milwaukee, who just won a title. They want to do it similar to that. And I know a lot of people want to talk about Sky Barnes. I don't see it with Sky Barnes yet. He can play good defense. He leaves you a lot to be desired on offense. A whole lot. Do you want another Ben Simmons situation? Because at the very least, I think Kuminga could develop a shot. But he just plays bully ball right now because he's a physical specimen. So, like, subscribe if you haven't, comment below if you haven't, click that bell, get more videos. I holla.